Welcome you to our program. Don Young will speak, plus we've added a music segment and an interview segment. Our vision statement is to influence the influencers, to bring back biblical principles to 1 million plus people in our viewing area, and then to the good old USA. Watch it or TiVo it, but don't miss it.
Good morning, and you can tell I have a guest here today. It's Gregg Bobo. Never been anywhere but where?
Paducah, Kentucky.
And Texas.
And Texas. It's been a summer there between Fort Worth and Dallas.
You know what they told me in college? They said if you don't do so well, you're going to end up between podunk and monkey's eyebrow. Well, lo and behold, that's where I ended up, in Paducah and monkey's eyebrow.
Yep, I feel
God knows where it is, though.
Yes, sir.
Gregg has got a tremendous testimony he's going to share with you in just a minute. And as I promised you, we are back, and we're back with Gregg Bobo, and he's going to share his heart with you. I got acquainted with you in a really weird way.
Yes.
I used to tell people, don't you touch Facebook, it's too wild over there. In fact, I have gotten really involved with teenagers. Get off that thing, get off that thing. And here I am. I got 1,000 friends, you probably do too.
Yes, sir.
And I'm meeting people I have never met before and getting to minister to people I've never ministered to before. And that's how I met you.
Yes, sir.
And Gregg is a poet that can tell a story in the most beautiful, beautiful way. And I wanted to find out more about him. And I, of course, got acquainted with you through your writings and through the questions that people would ask you and respond to you. And you said on the TV, on the email, you hoped that you didn't mind people crying. Well, we'll cry a little, laugh a little, and holler a little.
Yes, sir.
Whatever you need to do to feel comfortable. But where'd you come from? You said you've been here nearly all your life.
Yes, sir.
And what have you been into?
Well, I was born here in 1969, January the 1st, as a matter of fact.
That's my birthday.
Is it really? Yeah. I was the first baby born in Paducah in 1969.
I was in Texas.
We have something
We
in
have
common.
something in common.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Went to school at Ballard Memorial. Had some great teachers there, and then worked construction with my dad, George Bobo. He's had a backhoe for years.
I know
worked
George.
in the area. Yes,
Do you
sir.
know Morris Bobo?
Yes, sir.
That's your uncle, isn't it?
Yes, sir. It's my great uncle.
Great.
Actually, I think is what that is.
He was one of the founders of this church.
And so most of the time I run into another Bobo, I'm looking at a cousin. At
Okay.
least, so.
Okay. So George was your dad? And
Yes, sir. And worked with him in construction all around the area for many years till 1998. That's when I started selling cars. Started at Royal Oak Chevrolet and worked there for 10 years. And the last 3 years I've been at Mike Smith Toyota, which is...
That's a geared up place.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mike Smith has been wonderful to me. I mean, his sons, Dustin and Travis and Caleb.
Yeah.
He's got a beautiful, wonderful wife, Debbie. They just encourage me all the time, which helps out so much.
That's awesome. That's
so
awesome.
much. So.
I know Debbie. She seems meek and mild, but she can talk.
I haven't got the chance to speak with her very many times, but every time I do, I feel like a better person when I'm done.
She's the opposite of Mike, because Mike talks all the time.
It's hard to get a word in with him sometimes, but it's always a good word though that he shares. So.
Well, how did you become a Christian? You've been a Christian all your life, so to speak, since a little boy, or you?
My mother, bless her heart, Sherry Bobo, she's always been involved in the church and always tried to get me involved in the church. And I was saved when I was really young.
Yeah.
But I don't think I really understood what I was doing then. And you know, of course, growing up through the teen years and everything, it drifted real far away from that. And most of my adult life, even when I was 14. Was in a car accident, and my brother lost his life in that wreck, and that affected me from that time on in pretty much everything I did, because I was really mad at the world.
How could God do this kind of thing?
Exactly, and I was just really mad at God, and almost like I was trying to hurt him, like I had that capability, and
I can understand that.
Like I say, most every decision that I've made, and when I was 18, I got met a good friend. I thought was a good friend, turned out to be a really bad friend, but that was beer.
Okay.
And beer played a big part of my life because it got to the point where that's all that I was living for, was just when I was going to get my next drink.
Tell us about that. There's addiction all in both sides of mine and my wife's families. And if I was addicted to anything, it'd be candy. You know, I mean, I'd go out to Hank's just to buy stuff, just to look at the candy when you walk in.
Yes, sir.
I'm being facetious, but how did you get involved with that? Is it parties or just still mad at God, or just want to have a good time, or peer pressure, or?
I would say a little bit of all of that. Like I said, all through high school, I played sports, so I stayed away from it until my senior year, and that's when I discovered it, so to speak.
Yeah.
And kind of liked it for a little while. You know, I would forget. You know, I mean, just be stupid actually, but would not be thinking so much on things that I didn't want to think about.
Yeah.
You know, but then I came to realize that I was not a happy drunk when I would drink. I mean, people that were close to me, I was just mean.
You mean drunk?
I was a mean person. Yes, sir. Sadly, and I destroyed a lot of good relationships because of alcohol.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about what got you started at about 18, and I always told my kids, and not only that, but all the kids that I've raised out here, hundreds and hundreds of teenagers come through this church. And I always told them, you never know whether you're an alcoholic or an addict or not until you get involved in it. And I was always scared to, because I was raised with it. I can remember my cousins, 100 years ago, were all drunks. And I remember an old uncle that was, and I thought, man, I don't want to be, they're just the outcast of the family,
Yes, sir.
And so I said to myself, I'm never going to take that first drink. I smelled of it one day. I found a can somewhere and I smelled it. It smelled like vomit to me. I thought, man, that stuff's bad. So I never did, but I taught the kids here, you never know. And once you get that first drink, you can tell me. I can't because I don't have the experience. But what's the second one and the third? And then how long is it before you know I'm done?
Oh, unfortunately for me, it took me many years to realize that, because I would just the whole time I would be working. I mean, all I was thinking about was getting off and meeting up with friends and
getting drunk.
Because it was every night. We were doing that every night. And I guess God was kind of looking out for me in a way back then, because I tried other things, drugs, pot, pills, but none of them ever did anything. Maybe I did it wrong, because I never got anything out of it,
Yeah.
But the drinking I did, and man, I just kept it going. I stopped for a little bit in '98. I got married. First, when I was 20 years old, God gave me a blessing. I had a daughter, Kylie, was born to me, and I mean, that was just so amazing, because I thought, of course, I was 20 and I was very immature, and I was still partying and had wild oats to sow, so to speak. But I was like, man, I'm going to be the best father in the world, But that didn't happen. Beer kind of got in the way of that, and separated from her mother, and so I was the part-time dad, and more times than not, I would choose to go and party rather than go and do something with my daughter. And how she turned out to be so wonderful like she is today,
How old is she?
I don't know. She is 21 now, and has given me a grandson, Nate, that I'm just extremely proud of. And it is so amazing to watch her with Nate, because she is the parent like I'd hoped to be for her. But I never was.
You can.
I'm trying.
You can.
I'm trying. And then in '98, I started in the car business, and I got married, and had a son, Dylan, and he's now 12 years old. And I quit drinking for for a long time, and then we got pregnant with another son, Drew, and it was about that time because, and I don't know why, every time I would get comfortable with something, I felt like it was undeserved for me, and I would try my best to sabotage it, which most of the time I was very successful in. But then Drew was born, and then it got to where on the weekends, on Sundays, because the way I worked, I was hardly ever off during the week, but always was off on Sundays. When I would get out and work in the yard, and I just started back drinking beer. And then my wife at the time, after Drew was born, I really think was going through some hard times, with the postpartum depression or all of that. And instead of being understanding, I started to drink more, and then started to go out and not be at home, and it, ended up costing me the marriage, caused me to get divorced, and that's when it really started going bad. Because now, not only was I a part-time dad for my daughter, but also for Dylan and Drew. And again, it got back into the heavy drinking, because as soon as I got divorced, where I hadn't been going out every night again, I was hitting the bars, and I had money because I was making money, but I had no purpose at all. No, all it was get through work so I can go drink, and hang out and just have a good time. But I wasn't really having a good time.
That's what they call it, though.
Right, and but still I didn't realize this. The problem was with everybody else. Everybody else was just crazy, and here I got everything together. I'm making money, I'm handling my stuff, and I can do this, and all the while is, where I wanted to be the best father in the world, I was not. And that's something I still struggle with, and I'm still trying to make up for. But
you're a picture of God's grace. Grace is something you get you don't deserve. And then you're also a picture, we all are, by the way,
yes.
We all are. And then you're also a picture of God's mercy. Mercy is God withholding stuff that you deserve. So grace, you get something you don't deserve, and mercy, you withheld something that you deserve. So grace and mercy keeps us going. They're twins. And grace, the audience needs to know, because there's some people in this audience that are right where you were. They can tell this story all over again. And they have an idea, and you may have too. You could tell me that God's arms is still open all the time. How can He do that? How can He love somebody that spits in His face? That's called unconditional love. It's closest to that is the love you've got for that little girl. And that little is it a grandson?
Grandson, Nate. And,
they make you
my
crazy.
Two boys, Dylan and Drew. Yeah.
Those little grandchildren make you crazy.
Yes.
My wife told me more than once, honey, we're in public.
I know that feeling. I know at work because she'll send me pictures all the time, and I'm showing them off, and they're very supportive of me and everything. They're like, how many pictures is this guy going to get? But I can't.
Well, your best is yet.
I hope.
It is.
I feel like that.
It is.